What up, nerds? Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie, and today on the channel, it's time for my weekly reads. This is just a video where I sit down, talk about all the stuff I've been reading, just give you insights, takeaways, initial thoughts and opinions, all of that fun stuff. But before we dive into the books, I know there are a lot of Jack Reacher fans, whether you read the books and then watched the series or you're just watching the series on Amazon. Season 3 started Wednesday. They've only released 3 episodes so far, so you can get a jump start on the new season. I haven't watched them yet. That is the plan for sometime over the weekend. Probably by the time this video has gone up, I've already watched them and I probably have loved them. This has been one of my favorite book to screen adaptations to date. They just nailed the casting. They've done a great job adapting the books. Sure, they've made some changes, but the changes added to the story rather than leaving out important bits. That's usually my gripe with adaptations. All right, enough about that. Let's talk about what have I been reading this week, starting with the things that I have finished. First in that pile is Scythe and Sparrow. This is the 3rd book in Bryn Weaver's The Ruinous Love trilogy. Another 5-star read for me, and this is not even a genre that I pick on purpose. This was a happy accident. In fact, it was a recommendation by one of my patrons, Sharon, who will live on in infamy in my memories because this has become one of my favorite trilogies and author. Anything Bryn Weaver writes, I'm gonna read, even though it's not my typical genre. And if you're wondering, if you haven't heard of this series, I call it serial killer smut. Though that's not a very apt description for the 3rd book in the series, which I'm glad she broke away from that formula and gave us something a little bit different. I would say this one is more of a love story, but it's so cute and you get to meet all of the characters that you've met in the first 2 books. And if you've read the first 2 books, you've already got the outline. You've got the bare bones of this relationship. This book just fills in all the gaps and then continues on, gives us a little bit more information as far as what comes after. If you are not an epilogue reader, you better read this epilogue and you're gonna thank me for it. So I finished that one, gave it 5 stars, just loved it. Like I said, can't wait for the next thing Bryn Weaver writes. That is incredibly difficult for me whenever I say several words that are close together that have W's and R's in them. Are y'all like that, or is it just me? It's probably just me. My next completed read, another new author, another new series, another new favorite. I finished Dreaming the Eagle by Amanda Scott. It's the 1st book in the Boudica series, which I just recently saw one of the Gwyn brothers posted a picture on Instagram of the series, and he was talking about how it was one of his favorite historical fiction series, and was asking about if any of us had read it, and I was like, yes, I've just read the first one. Again, I have to thank my patron Heidi for this recommendation. Wonderful. She took it a step further with that recommendation and let me know that there were multiple audiobooks available, but to go for the one that was narrated by Josephine Bailey. Man, she did an amazing job. This series, I think, would be a perfect fit for those of you who love the Gale Song series by Shauna Lawless, or the Nightingale and the Falcon series by Stephen Aryan. So this is one I am going to be continuing as well. I loved the characters, many of which are actually based on real historical figures. So I love that kind of stuff. I love learning about history with a little bit of fiction to spice it up. When the author uses the people, the places, and events, but brings it together in a way that makes it more entertaining to read and learn about by providing some dialogue and context. I am just a sucker for that type of historical fiction, and this one scratched that itch. My next completed read, I just finished listening to this one on audiobook while I was getting ready to make this video. It is The Trial of Rooker Flynn. It's the 2nd book in the Lot Institute trilogy by A.R. Witham. Oh, if you want a 5-star experience with this book, listen to it on audio. The author is an amazing writer. An amazing narrator, and just the way this story was meant to be told orally. I am just convinced it is one that is much better when it's told to you. Something that I loved about, I loved a lot of things about this one. There was a bigger role played by a character that we did meet in the first book. He is a bard. His name is Billy Pilgrim, and Billy is mute. He does not talk. There was something that happened to him, but in this book, he does a lot of singing, and I am one of those people, I get to a song in a book, I skip over it. I don't read songs. But of course, I'm in the audiobook. I had to listen to it. Andy can sing, y'all. Though there was one, The House of the Rising Sun, I think it was someone else that did that part. It may have been Andy, and if it is, oh my goodness, he's got some pipes. So I don't like songs and books. I skip them, but oh my gosh, do not skip them in this. If you do read this one, you're not an audiobook person, you're reading the series, and you do read this one, don't skip them. They're really funny. Billy Pilgrim is a comedian as well as a bard, and he is super funny. Loved the singing. I also loved, so there's this sequence, and you're really familiar with it if you're a movie watcher. I know you've seen movies. There's like Ocean 11 and I think Gone in 60 Seconds, where it comes to the part where, so the premise, they're in prison. They're on this island that is a prison, and you have to seek shelter at night because this island is populated by what is called the Shik. And these are big, huge yellow spiders that come out at night and they eat everything. It's horrifying. So of course our main character, Rooker Flynn, he's a pirate, and he is coming up with a plan, another plan, to try and escape the island. And as this plan is starting to come together, there's other people involved. It starts off and it's like, okay, this plan all hinges on this person doing their part. And then we switch to that person carrying out the action that's their part of the plan. And then they're like, okay, I've done my part. Now it's going to be up to the so-and-so to do theirs. And then we switch to that person that picks up with them carrying out their part. I love that sort of transition through the plan. We're hearing the plan as it's being carried out. For this one, I would say if you are a fan of the Gladiator movies, you would like this one. If you liked Prison Break or any type of shows where they're breaking out, or even planning a heist like Ocean's 11 or Gone in 60 Seconds, I think you would like this one. There is even a little spot there where they're almost playing a game of Clue. Just thoroughly loved this one. I haven't had time to sit down and work on my review yet because I literally just finished, but I can just tell you, off of emotion alone, that's a 5-star for me. So that brings me to what am I still currently working on. So I started reading Watchmen last week. I am inching my way along. I am probably, I'm almost halfway through. I thought I was a little more like 1/4% of the way through. But this one is a little bit of a step away from the light-hearted, fun stuff I usually like starting my days out with. For those of you who don't know my little routine that I like to do, wake up, my first cup of coffee, I like to read a manga or a comic to kind of get my day started, just get my brain moving, hence the light-hearted, fun stuff. This one's a little more involved. This one's dark. It's political, I guess, because it has Rorschach in it. I'm willing to forgive him anything he wants to do. I'm going to listen to it because of Rorschach. Just, I don't know why I've always loved that character, but he's always been a favorite of mine. My other read that I'm flying through, I think I started this book day before yesterday, like that night. I've already made it over halfway through this one. This is Marshall Karp's upcoming release, Don't Tell Me How to Die. Oh my goodness. It is so tragic to begin with. So what this one is about, our main character Maggie, she is the mayor of Hearthstone, and she has just been delivered the news she has the same rare blood disease that killed her mother when Maggie was a teenager. It's genetic, so her and her sister got tested every year to make sure they did not have it because they carried the markers for it. Maggie's just been given her death sentence. She knows she's got a few months left to live, and she remembered what happened. Her mom was only, I want to say 41 or 42 when she died, and just like her mother warned her and her sister, The women were coming out in droves after their dad because he was handsome, he was a kind man, and he was a restaurant owner, a successful restaurant owner. So they were just coming out in droves, and I was getting so tickled because what the girls would do is initially all these women were coming over bringing casseroles. The girls would immediately take the casseroles to the kitchen, dump the food into a Tupperware, clean the dish, and immediately give it back to the woman so she wouldn't have an excuse to come back to the house. So the first part one of this book is Maggie telling us the story of her mother's last days and immediately following the experience of the girls trying to help their father not fall prey to a gold digger. Part two, which I've just gotten into, is after Maggie has died, and I'm guessing it's going to be about her twins. What's going to happen? Because the whole premise is Maggie wanted to choose her replacement, who was going to be her husband's next wife and the mother of her children. I am so far, like I said, very early on in part two. I've just met the twins, her children, and they are a hoot. They take after their mom in that regard. I will have this book finished in the next couple of days. It's just very snappy. It reads really quickly. It's entertaining, and it has short chapters. I don't know if y'all are like this, but for some reason, if a book has short chapters, for some reason I read it so much faster. I have no idea. I'm baffled by it. So those are the two things I'm currently reading. What am I going to start next? Well, now that I have finished my current audiobook, it's time to get started on This Inevitable Ruin by Matt Denneman. It's the 7th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Yes, I read the digital copy when it came out a few months ago, but I got to get my listen in. This is just one of those series that you just gotta listen to it on audio. Jeff Hayes is just a gem. This guy is brilliant when it comes to voicing characters. And I'm telling y'all, with the army of characters that is encompassed by this series, I am just in awe of Jeff, able to give all these people different voices, keep them all straight. I am baffled. My next book that I'm going to start once I finish Don't Tell Me How to Die is The Exile of Zanzibar by Daniel Maidman. I've had this one on my TBR for quite a while now. I'm excited to finally be reading it. It's going to be the next thing I pick up. This is, I want to say it's a science fiction fantasy novel. It's self-published, and what makes me think it's a sci-fi fantasy is there is time travel involved. I am a huge fan of time travel, especially when it goes sideways. The main character of this one, her name is Claire, she builds a device that folds space and time. She finds herself halfway across the world, 1,000 years in the past, and the device is nowhere in sight. So she's got to try and get some friends going so she's able to survive in the past until she can find the device and get back home. At least that's what I'm guessing is going to be her plan of action here. Is she going to succeed? I have no idea. I do believe this is the first book in a series, so I'll be curious to see if we're going to get back to her present or if maybe she's going to get kicked to the future in the next one, kind of like a play on the Back to the Future series. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. So that's what's up next. And once I finish that one, I'm going to be diving into Shannon Knight's book called Wish Givers. I am so excited for this one. And this is the first one I think Shannon and I talked about when she reached out and said, I think I have some books that you might like to read. Turns out all of her books are books that I think I would like to read. I have, I think, all of them that are out currently in the series. So Wish Givers, the magic system is based on tattoos. You know she had me. You know she had me immediately. I have tattoos. I love tattoos. I always want more tattoos. So a magic system based on tattoos. And I think it's taboo now to use that type of magic. I think something happened, and now if you are someone who uses that, then you're in danger of getting in a lot of trouble. Let's see here. Our main character's name is Riva, and the clan that she belongs to, they tattoo wishes into reality. Ooh. Once revered, her clan now lives in hiding with a precious few left in prison in a pit beneath the palace. Riva is burning for justice, and she announces herself as a wish giver and allows herself to be bound. So I guess she wanted to be taken prisoner in order to try and free her people. She knows the only way to save herself and her people is to grant her greatest enemy his every wish. Let's think about that for a second. If you give everybody everything they want, well, they're going to be content and they're going to get used to it, and maybe they're going to let their guard down so you're able to do some sneaky on the inside and free your people maybe before he even notices. I have no idea. I can't wait to find out. But this is just the first book of many that I am planning to read this year by Shannon Knight. Cannot wait to finally get started and let you guys know what I think about another new author. Wait, so is Daniel Maidman. Daniel Maidman is a new to me author, and so is Marshall Karp. Wow, I've had a whole pile of new authors this week that have been hits for me. Let's hope that trend continues. So that's all the stuff that I've read this week, what I'm currently reading, and what I am excited to read next. So that is where I'm going to wrap it up and leave you all to enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know a lot of you have gotten snow the last couple of days. We've gotten a little bit of chilly weather here. I mean, chilly for us is like 65 degrees, and my menopausal tail loves that. So I hope you're all staying warm, and I hope you're staying warm with a good book. Share in the comments what you've been reading this week that you've been enjoying. Let your girl know. You know, I'm always shopping for more books to put on that TBR. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. This channel would not be what it is today without its patrons, especially those of my top tier: Ev, Sharon, Kate, Andrew, Amanda, Ann, Tara, Star, Gail, John, Chad, Heidi, and Wilbur.